right. Good morning, everybody. So this morning, hey, we excuse me. Let me try that again. So this morning we're gonna be talking about the Save Act again because there has been a new development. It has passed the House. It's headed to the Senate, and this is all to the good. We're going to talk about what the Save Act is, what to expect from it, kind of the forecast and how it's going to process through the Senate, and most especially, we're going to talk about what the opposition is saying about it. I've got Mario on with me this morning. Good morning, Sunshine. How you holding up?
Okay. A bit of odd week, but yeah. So those nasty Republicans are making it impossible for brown people to vote again.
In particular, black people. They're especially interested in getting black people not to vote, which
I've always understood from attempts to secure federal elections is black people don't have any form of physical ID. Okay. What I've learned in 2026 is that black people also don't have any record of their birth. Okay. They literally don't exist. They're U.S. citizens. In fact, they're our most heritage of heritage Americans, trapped in a state of legal limbo at all times because on paper and in the federal registrars, they don't even exist because of the color of their skin. Okay? Know what I'm saying?
yeah. In fact, Kathy Hochul is pretty explicit on why it's so racist to ask black people to get IDs to vote. See what we got
Basically,
here.
I'm trying to say, stop downplaying the black community for clout, bro. It's not right. It's not good, bro. We smart.
At all.
Yeah,
It's
bro.
not good
We
at all.
smart. We know we good. The future is bright, bro. Trust
All right,
us.
guys. So
Now, I will extend in all fairness.
We be smart, yo.
Smart. He is not doing himself or his people any favors. There.
He's got the vocabulary of your average, Chicago area drill rapper. You know what I mean? So he's pretty much
Right.
he's the national standard. Yeah, he's
But the funny bit is, Republicans and people who are in favor, like myself, of the Save Act are not making an argument about the inadequacy of black people and their inability to vote or that they're too stupid to vote. In fact, we're making exactly the opposite argument, that the metric of competence, we are generally expecting that people who are American citizens are competent to engage in civic activity.
earlier today, I saw a video where Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York,
Yes, they don't know. They're growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. Kids growing
up in the Bronx, specifically black kids, don't know what a computer is.
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things.
She didn't even say don't know what a computer is. She said they don't know what the word computer is.
Yeah.
So today we're going to go around the Bronx asking black kids and kids.
Right. And okay, so obviously that's just a bizarre and insane take on that. Mario, have you seen this clip?
Computer is. They don't know. They
Yeah.
don't know. Young black
This is priceless. Not that. This.
young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them, because when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges. Young black kids.
No, of course.
It's like a combination of the files are in the computer from Zoolander, okay, combined with Ashley Robinson from the Dave Chappelle Show. Okay, it's perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then here we go. We've got Dem Rep Yvette Clark on the topic, and I really want to drive this home and make sure that everybody understands what is the left argument.
That the SAVE Act is an attack on civil rights and is racist. Could you just explain that further? Because 76% of Black Americans support the SAVE Act, according to CNN.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, We find it racist because at the end of the day, it's targeting Black communities with a cost burden. We've been through this historically, right?
Shut the fuck up, bitch.
We've been prohibited from voting
We
because
we
we didn't know
we
how many bubbles were in a soap bar. And so this is just a new iteration of that, and we're very focused on defeating it.
Look at this fucking mushmouth looking bitch. She needs to get a fucking like a pink hoodie from Fat Albert, put it across her face. Mushmouth looking piece of shit. Ugh. Yep. Poor black people. There's no end. There's no end to their suffering and their indignities. People in the chat, see talking about. Yeah, I agree. The whole Guthrie mom story thing. I don't get it. Nobody really cares about it, but it's being pushed front and center. Obviously, yes, to mask, to hide other things that are going on. Absolutely. It's
Well,
I mean, part of it is because it's the Epstein to even be able to like properly go into the Epstein files. Okay, like people on X have created a lot of tools. Okay, to help you. Right, they're uploaded a like a database to go into his email account, basically do your own research, and there are other like Python tools that help break it apart and make it make sense. You know what I mean? But stuff like that is completely inaccessible to anyone over the age of probably 50, 45. Okay. So, and that is the Fox News, viewer base is the older generation. So it's too confusing and it's too overwhelming. It's too much for them to process. So it's just not going to appear on Fox. In fact, it's kind of an IQ test pretty much in general for the country. If you are able to look into the Epstein files, okay, if you are able to kind of do your own research, right? It's a national IQ test, and more than half the population can't do it. It has to be spoon fed to them. As for me, there's just so much of it that I'm waiting for kind of the fire hose to stop before I even touch the thing. And I didn't mean to talk about Epstein this morning, so my apologies.
well, and we are going through another great filter, and unfortunately, it looks like there's so much trash going into the filter that it's getting clogged up, so the clean water can't go through.
Yeah.
It went from being a filter to just being a stopple. But back to the point that I forget her useless name already.
Mushmouth. We'll call her Mushmouth.
Yvette Clark. Yeah, back to the point that Yvette Clark was making. Oh, this is just a poll tax. It costs money to get ID, and that's going to... Okay. Look, we already pointed out, look, the Democrats think you're stupid.
It costs money to buy food. Is it racist to buy food?
No, Mario, I'll do you one better. It costs money to get an ID in those states which are interested in opposing the act. California, it's like $45 to get an ID. In the state of Georgia, for example, however, in Georgia, the state offers a free voter ID card that can serve as voter identification for election purposes. You must meet documentation requirements. Right? Nebraska, state ID card free for all U.S. citizens. Missouri, non-driver ID at no charge, specifically for voting purposes. Idaho, since 2023, Idaho offers free state ID cards for adults who haven't had a driver's license for at least 6 months and indicate they need it for voting. And then there are states with targeted no-fee options. Arizona, Michigan, Florida, South Dakota, places. Now, New York has some residents may qualify for a reduced fee ID if they're on public assistance. But yeah, what you find is, this woman's talking about...
How did you get on public assistance in the first place without some form of identification?
Right. That's a fun question. But this woman is saying that
free money. I can go get free money under the name Walter P. Greeley.
But she's making the argument that the point to the voter ID is to disenfranchise black people because they're all poor right? There's two arguments. Black people are all too poor to get IDs, and black people are too stupid to operate computers. So this one, they're too poor. That even if that were the case, that no black person can come up with the money required to purchase a state ID, that's only a factor in the places where they are trying to prevent ID from being a factor in voting. California wants $40 to $50 for a state ID. New York is similar unless you're on government assistance. All the blue states charge between $20 and $50 for your ID card.
Well, they're not going to pass up an opportunity for a quick tax. Okay.
Correct.
And the thing is,
but the point is, in those states where you would expect, based on the reasoning of the Democrat, which is to argue that Republicans are racist and seek to disenfranchise blacks through the poll tax of the ID, red states do not charge for ID. And in fact, they do that specifically so that they can argue in court that paying for the ID does not amount to a poll tax. These cases have been tried. And so the Democrat argument there is completely fallacious. It is an absolute 180 degrees from what is true and factual. But let's not let the easy ones go. Let me remind you that Stacey Abrams sued the state of Georgia in a lawsuit over voter suppression, arguing, I shit you not, that black people are too stupid to spell their own names.
Yeah, they can't spell their name. Yeah.
In particular, what the lawsuit was about is the law in Georgia required exact match registration, which is to say that in order to register to vote, you had to fill out a registration form and it had to be correct. You had to spell your name correctly. You had to put your correct address, your correct birthday, your correct social security number. Stacey Abrams filed a lawsuit against the state of Georgia arguing that this was discriminatory. I shit you not, because black people have more complex names and are more prone to misspell their own names than white people, and therefore requiring people to spell their name correctly is racist. He filed a lawsuit about this.
I know. Well, it is an 80 IQ. It is an 80 IQ barrier. Okay, it's a sub 80 IQ screen for voting, I suppose. But then again, they could always just fill out the paperwork again and this time get it correct. You know what I mean? Or if they're apparently 20% of black people. I saw this on the news the other day. Apparently 20% of black people have no form of birth certificate. Like they don't have any registration of their birth whatsoever. So they're just free range. They're essentially free range animals out there. All right.
Now, when you say that, do you mean they don't have a copy of it at home, or do you mean that they were not born in a hospital and are not?
No, I mean they lost it.
Right, and they don't understand that they can just file with the courthouse to get a copy of it.
Well, that you're making them do something. You're making them leave their you're making them leave their subsidized domicile to go do something to achieve something. That's racist. Okay.
Correct. Obama should not be allowed to vote under the SAVE Act.
Yeah. Obama? Barry Soetoro? Who is this man?
And it's also worth mentioning, since I brought up Stacey Abrams, the feds are still investigating, to my knowledge, the Stacey Abrams linked group $2 billion EPA grant, right? Stacey Abrams' group received a $2 billion grant from the EPA. It's a voter organization.
Grant? Who the fuck would give her $2 billion in free money?
Joe Biden's EPA.
Wow, so that's recent. Well, somewhat recent. I never even heard of that.
No, Brother, I think you were on the show. We covered this when we were talking about Doge. This was one of the things that came out when Doge was really popping off.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I have a faint memory of it. Yep.
So yeah, it was awarded. The massive grant was awarded to Power Forward Communities in April of 2024 from environmental spending and former President Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act. Oh.
There are entire communities. There are entire communities that are based on one particular offensive role on a basketball team. That's crazy, man.
So, and that's just the most recent scandal around Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams has been the head or chair or CEO of like a dozen different quote unquote voters' rights groups who have all been put under investigation for various types of voter fraud and election interference. Now, as I understand it, many of those have not gone anywhere. But let's be real. You're talking about Stacey Abrams being investigated in Atlanta, Georgia. Right. So I can't, it turns out that her sister is a judge that has been involved in several of those cases, and they somehow magically disappear. Like, y'all,
yeah.
The level of corruption around Stacey Abrams in the state of Georgia cannot be overstated.
In Fulton County, Fulton County is like when you talk about blue cancers in red states, Fulton County is like the supreme fucking mother Metroid, okay, of blue cancers.
Yes.
But just the investigation into election shenanigans there in 2020. It looks like what we assumed all along. Rafflesperger, okay, the Spurg, 100% guilty of misappropriation of or failure to properly document, okay, failure to properly verify vote tallies, vote counts, right? It's like 500,000 votes that cannot be either they don't have any record of them. There's no scanned record of them, or it's they were double fed, right? Remember the infamous video where you saw in the Fulton County Election Center where they're just running the same stack of ballots through the machine again and again and again after they shut down voting for a busted water main, which was in fact a leak on a toilet, right? Yeah, like the question is the DOJ going to do anything? Is Pam Bondi going to prosecute anyone for this? I doubt it.
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Cam had a fit about Stacey Abrams' appearance on that show. That might be worth going into the archives to take a look at.
I'd have to go digging for a minute to find it, but the FBI recently released the underlying documentation that went behind the warrant to search the Fulton County elections offices and seize the ballots, and the underlying warrant application actually shows that they are not. How do I phrase this correctly? They are not merely investigating the suspicion of election fraud. They're actually investigating specific. It's a criminal referral, not a civil investigation. There has actually been a criminal investigation opened up into the election tampering that occurred in Georgia.
Well,
we are way beyond. We are way beyond the idea that 2020 wasn't stolen. If you hear a person, if a person seems to believe that 2020 was a legitimate election, you're not talking to an intelligent, serious person. You're not talking to someone who, they may be intelligent, but they are not informed on the issue.
Or they're not even inquisitive. They don't want to know, is what it
right.
means. They got the outcome they wanted, and that's good enough. That is their truth. Okay, and that's good enough for them. So that's blatant partisanship. So, yep. No, chat wants to do a deep dive on Star Trek. Oh man, that's crazy.
Oh,
Can't do it though.
I have enjoyed Star Trek. I do like Star Trek, but I'm sorry, guys. I am not the one for that deep dive. That might have to be a Cami Poo solo.
That's right.
So I want to bring this up. I want to bring this up from CNN. Yes, CNN, because it's CNN, and I just want to remind everybody
the vast majority. It's like deportations. The vast majority support it. So where the fuck is democracy? Damn it! Right? Let's go.
And and I'm using CNN because, of course, CNN does not want this to be the case. They carry water for the Democrat Party and the global homo elite sociopaths that seek to destroy your country and eliminate you all. So when you see something like this, Jordan Peterson liked to use the example of the Army running IQ tests or studying IQ tests during the early parts of the draft for Vietnam, and having to release the result that they discovered that if you're below an 80 IQ, you cannot be usefully enlisted in the Army because you cannot safely be entrusted with autonomous order sets. You can't be given a set of instructions and expected to complete them effectively without injuring yourself if you're below 80 IQ.
Yeah,
and the result of that
McNamara's morons. Yes, it was.
And the reason that's important is not about the safety of the retards. The reason it's important is because that result is precisely the opposite of what that academic study wanted to produce. So when you have somebody who has a clear political or efficient motivation going into a study, comes out the other end and has to admit the opposite of what I want to be true is true by the evidence, that lends a piece of credibility to it. Like there were a bunch of feminists that did a study on gender equality in professions, and they discovered that in Scandinavia, where there is the highest level of kind of free access to education, with you just, hey, you can do whatever you want to do, that when you don't have the additional external mechanism of people being pushed where they want to go, where you have absolute freedom to do whatever you want to do, men tend to do jobs that involve things, and women tend to prefer jobs that involve people. So you had men becoming brain surgeons and rocket scientists. You had women becoming pediatricians and doulas and all of that. So what these feminists who wanted to prove that women and men are the same managed to prove is that women and men absolutely are interested in different things.
Speaking
so now
of
you have CNN who wants you to believe that blacks are too stupid to use a computer or find a DMV and too broke to pay for an ID, most especially in those states where the ID is free because it's a Republican state. They have to come out. They have to release this. This isn't just him reading data. This is from CNN. They're showing the Pew Research poll, and this is, I believe, also related to a CNN poll.
Take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of Black Americans favor it.
Importantly, for all of those, remember, half of white people, roughly, are Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that 85% of that right there, like, so you've got like 95% of white Republicans support voter ID. So of the number inside of that 85%, at least half of those are Democrats.
So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote. So something of a non. Take a look here.
Nicki Minaj, really, dude?
Well, And contextually, it just happens to be the case that she was tweeting something for the SAVE Act that same morning.
Yep.
Aaron Olson points out India agrees. Yes, the vast majority, the 190 countries on the planet, like 120 of them have voter ID. Do you know what the other roughly 70 have in common?
What?
They don't have elections.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, democracy is losing its use and losing its viability.
North Korea requires ID to vote.
I'm sure.
Well, in a country where you will suffer the Samchon vengeance if you vote for the opposition party, right? So North Korea has huge erections, right? They have huge erection, right? And in the North Korean erection, there is the People's Party. There's the Democratic Socialist, the People's Democratic Socialist Party, and there's the opposition party. I forget what the opposition party is called, but it's not even like a conservative. It's just, we want a socialism different than the Kims, right? And that party exists, and there are members of that party. But if you get caught voting for the opposition party, that's it, son. That's you and 3 generations.
Yep.
That's you, all the living males on your so your father, your grandfather, your great grandfather, your son, your grandson, and your great grandson. Done. You will be fed to dogs in front of an audience.
You get familicided. You get.
Yeah.
Yep. We're not quite there yet in the United States. The Republican Party is largely a fake opposition party. Okay.
Yes.
But we're not killing them yet. All right. Maybe if Gavin Newsom wins the presidency, then maybe we can start hunting down average red-hatted Americans. Okay. Maybe the dream will finally be complete. Tyler the Flower says that I'm looking spicy tonight. Well, I appreciate it. And I also noticed
you. Photo ID to vote. 85.
Look, really, here's the thing, though. I've heard the trope of you can't even have. That is. Thank you, Sergeant Major. Thank you for the zero sarcasm, most autistic post of the day. All right, thank you. Anyway, there are some tropes in American politics that I have heard my entire life. Okay. And ever since I was first the age of consciousness around 12 to 13, where I could even manifest an idea that there is a government and that there are competing sides that vote to get their people in government. Okay. The very nascent beginnings of a political understanding. And one of those tropes is that voter ID or securing the vote is somehow racist against Black people. I have heard this my entire life. Okay. And it's always the same people arguing against voter ID or voting against election security laws or enhancements. It's always like that mushmouth woman you played in the beginning of the show. All right. They're always decrepit, elderly, well past their lifespan, well past their functioning cognitive years, elderly civil rights era Black people, Black boomers, okay, pushing the same schmaltz decade after decade after decade without end, along with political machines that ensure that they are continually elected to Congress every year, no matter what. Looking at you, Maxine Waters, all right? Probably one of the lowest IQ individuals in the Senate, or lowest IQ individuals in the House, all right? Maxine Waters. How about Al Green, all right? The guy who looks like a melanated merchant meme. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Cane Boy.
God, you. God, but yeah, it's the same thing.
He doesn't even use the damn cane. It's an aesthetic prop.
And the thing is, the problem is, there is no advancement in political development ideology with black people. It's just the same thing. Every generation. You got to gives me dat. Okay? You've got to gives me dat. That is it. That is they're socialists. They're communists. Black people are racial communists. Okay? They demand that you give them stuff. They demand patronage in exchange for their political loyalty, right? And even that political loyalty requires subsidization usually from the Democrat Party to even get them out to vote. So I don't have a lot of faith in things going forward, right? At least in regards to to Black Americans. It hasn't changed my entire life. I don't think it ever will.
Just more significantly is that the numbers indicate that only 24% of blacks are still willingly consuming the Kool-Aid. Speaking on behalf of this poll alone.
No, they're just black. There's just 74% of black people actually have an ID, is what it means. So they'd be like, yeah, whatever, I got an ID.
Well, and there, we saw a lot more blacks vote for Donald Trump in this last election, and on exit polling, the number one issue was we're being replaced. The great replacement theory is never was and no longer is a theory, and we've even gone so far now that they're just explicitly stating it. The Bad Bunny freaking halftime show was a major step in that same direction, as were many of the ads that they showed, like the Redfin ad, where the white girls move into our deadbeat dad is leaving us, and now we have to buy a new house, and we have to move into the Mexican part of the city. And it turns out all the brown people are really friendly and nice, not like that.
No, they weren't.
That left us needing a house.
See, they weren't at first, were they? And then insert plot device, and then race. We did it, everyone. We ended racism.
Oh no! It wasn't that they weren't at first. No, as soon as the white girls moved into the neighborhood, all the brown people were really friendly. But the white girl's dog barked at the brown people because the white dog was racist, and the white girl was nervous about talking to the brown girl. And then there was a storm, and the brown guy helped them with the tree that fell next to the house. And then finally they all came together and realized, oh, they're not that bad. Right.
So really the racist dog. So it was like the plot from that episode of King of the Hill. That's incredible. Yes. That's a fucking grade A writing right there. Yeah, I know. I saw the commercial. I didn't even understand what was going on because I missed the beginning of it, but I could sense the mimetic scope of it. Okay. And I was screaming at the television. I'm like, this is the wokest mother Super Bowl of all fucking time. Okay. I had to walk away. I stopped watching.
There's apparently
here's the thing about Bad Bunny real quick. I don't want to delve into the culture war slop, okay? But it is Jay-Z controls the halftime show.
Correct.
He's controlled it for like 7 years. The NFL, Roger Goodell, the spineless cuck in professional sports, okay? A spineless man. An absolute he's basically like a Georgia Republican, okay? Where he's a polished-looking individual in a suit who is an absolute moral coward, all right? And he's still there. They never get rid of him. He had like all kinds of scandals, like 10 years ago, back when I actually gave a damn about football, okay? But he's still there. He's a figurehead. He's a punching bag. He's meant to draw your ire for the sake of the rest of the league. But yeah. It's Jay-Z. Jay-Z and Beyonce control your halftime show. That's why in 7 years there hasn't been a single white headliner on the show. Okay? Football's done. Okay. The NFL told you. The NFL literally told you. They printed it and put it on your national television. Football is gay. Okay?
Have you seen John Ward's video on this?
The NFL.
Mario, have you seen John Ward's video on this?
What?
Have you seen John Ward's video on this?
Maybe. I don't know.
The thumbnail puts up like the Kid Rock versus Bad Bunny, and it says who lost the NFL, and he starts with who lost the Super Bowl, and he starts off with You're watching the NFL. Everybody lost. It's all fake and gay. Everybody, if you were watching, you lost.
Yeah.
Aaron Olson pointed out, that's what I was starting to say a minute ago. The FCC is fining Bad Bunny $10 million for profanity. So this was broadcast on national broadcast television.
You're going into culture war slop.
You can't say the George Carlin words on national broadcast television. So Bad Bunny got out there and said them all in Spanish. Yeah. And the FCC correctly said, no, hold up. Just because you chose to use the Spanish version doesn't mean you didn't get up there and explicitly talk about depraved, degenerate sexual acts, massive promiscuity.
Check your demographics. 27% of the country understood exactly what you were saying, you dumbass. Have you seen the transcript of the lyrics?
Oh yeah, it's disgusting.
Dicks in pussy, dicks in butts, dicks in pussy, dicks in butts.
This
is not a song. It's not a song. It's something immature 15-year-olds would chant in the locker room. It's
So maybe the next deep dive we do. Obviously, we've already got the deep dive set up for this Saturday. We've already got the deep dive planned for this Saturday. Mario, are you working right after this? Are you working right after this morning?
Not right after, but I am working today. Yeah.
Maybe I see Aaron's in the chat. Maybe we can do that call that I was too wiped out for last night this morning. Mm-hmm. Are you down for that?
Yeah. Can you give me until maybe 8:30?
Yeah. Hey, Aaron, let me know in the chat or in the thread if you're down for that.
Mr. Epic Melon, SAVE Act is a threat to the 19th Amendment. I hope so.
Hell yeah. It's not. It's not.
Yeah, what are they even talking about? You said you wanted to talk about SAVE Act this morning, and I just did a passive scan through the headlines, and I see this one from USA Today. House passes bill that could create voting barriers for married women. I'm like, this sounds so stupid, it can't be true.
You're correct. So the argument is that because when women get married, they change their last name, that it makes it hard to get voter ID. It's a retard take.
The only thing I'll say in defense of that is even though I am divorced, my ex still has my name because it's just a pain in the ass to switch it back.
Right. Now, if I had my way, we would do away with the 19th, and we would do away with was it the 14th? Was it the 14th Amendment that did? Was 13th or 14th Amendment did vote? It's 13th Amendment. Yeah, if I had my way, we would do away with the 13th and the 19th Amendment. We would get rid of the amendment that says women can vote, and we would get rid of the amendment that says blacks can vote. And here's why. Because before those amendments were passed, there was nothing to stop blacks or women from voting. There was no law that prevented the vote based on any immutable characteristic. Prior to those two amendments creating universal suffrage, what we had was universal suffrage at the immutable characteristic level, and you were just required to be a resident and a landowner, right? So it looked like only white men had the vote at that point because they were primarily the landowners. But make no mistake, before the 13th Amendment, there were black men who owned land who voted. There were women who owned land who voted. And the idea was that the household had a vote, right? And as I've pointed out many times before, when the suffragettes were arguing for the 19th Amendment, the vast majority, like 75% of women, were opposed to it because they were concerned that having the vote would incur additionally the responsibility to be in the draft and to take up the bucket brigade detail. Those are the two big ones. But basically, the anti-suffragettes argued that we are not men and we don't want to do what men have to do. Men have to do all kind of stuff that sucks, and we want to not do those things, right? But back to the universal piece. All you had to be was a landowner, and then you could vote in the county in which you owned the land. So yes, widows who had inherited their husband's property, they owned the land. Women who decided not to be good housewives and went on to build something, they would also build the land. And land was generally owned generationally. And the most important part of this is that being a landowner in the community means that you have a stake in the community. You're not going to vote against the interests of the community and then leave. You're not going to vote against the interests of the community because you're going to live in that community. And what we have now is we have migratory voters who will simply vote for whatever nonsense and then not stick around. So, all right. I do need to go ahead and put a pin in it, though, Mario.
Anyway, Cade, last thing in the chat there, Cade, that's cute, but you know that feelings don't care about your facts. Stop it.
So right. I'm going to read you guys over to this dude that looks like he's talking about some Bible stuff, because I still need 3 raids this month. So you guys enjoy the raid. Love you, and we will see you tomorrow.
Yep.
Oh shit, where's my outro? There it is.
Whee!
It was down there at the bottom of the stack.
I just discovered I had like dangerous hallucinogenic plants in my backyard.
Oh yeah?